Hi everyone, I'm Dan. Welcome to Poetology. One of the first videos I made on this channel was about how to make a collage poem, and so far it's the most popular videos, it's the one that has the most views, and I thought I would make another one because it's an activity that I really enjoy doing, and there are so many possibilities. In that first video I was looking for words on the street, picking things up, usually shopping lists and people's notes, and putting them together on a background to create some kind of poem. I will add the link to that video down below. Today I'm going to take a slightly different approach and use text from a magazine, because I thought for most people, if you're thinking, let's make a collage poem, you don't necessarily want to go outside and start picking up material. You might, however, have magazines lying around. So, how to make it with a magazine. And I also used a couple more books that I got from Oxfam, but that is not necessary. Any image that attracts you can work as a background. I intended to make a very simple collage with just one background and some collaged words on top. It ended up being slightly more complex because I started making a frame with different visual elements arranged around it. That is not necessary, but I really enjoyed doing it that way. So I hope it will give you ideas for your own work. As in the first video, I used my cutting board, a hobby knife and some glue. I'm using a different kind of glue for this video. I don't know how it will stand the test of time, but it was a very practical glue stick for word pasting especially, so it worked well for this particular purpose. So let's get down to it. This poem has three elements. It has a background image, it has a frame around the image, and then it has the poem itself, the words that I cut out from a magazine to arrange on my background. For the frame, I cut out figures and objects from a book called Times Gone By that I got from Oxfam a few months ago. And for the background, I used artwork from another book titled The Tate Gallery. And that book is great because it has so many different artworks that you can simply take out of the book and use for your own purposes. Here is the book Times Gone By. As you can see, it has a lot of really interesting, very appealing black and white pictures that are very easy to use for collage. Here is the Tate Gallery with all the artwork, all the different paintings that you can use for background or to compose your own visual work. And I used this magazine called Spells, which is fun but slightly kitschy, so I think there is a risk when you use just one single magazine for all the poem text of being a bit kitsch or a bit trite and imitating the magazine too much. So I think it's really important to cut out words separately and rearrange them in a way that is not expected, in a way that does not just replicate the text that you have in the magazine, but that adds a twist. At this point, I basically went through the pages of the magazine and selected words that I thought were interesting, that I might want to use. I used a mixture of, nouns, verbs, adjectives, tried to find a variety of words that might be helpful, put them to the side, and once you have a lot of them, I went on doing this for a long time, I accumulated way too many words so that I would have a lot of vocabulary to choose from. And then, even as I composed the poem later, kept looking at the magazine to add new words, until I was able to compose the poem. Here you can see the complete frame before pasting, and you can see here that I'm composing the poem. I made the decision to split the poem into two separate stanzas, 4 lines each, when I was pasting. So you can go on shaping that poem as you glue. You know, even in the final stages, you might still decide to swap a word or change something or rearrange something. But of course, at some point, you know, once it's glued and your poem is fixed. So there's not a lot of editing involved, which means you have to make deliberate choices from the start and be sure that you can live with the result. And in this case, I think the poem ended up being slightly darker. I chose an autumnal theme, and it became partly about gods manipulating fate in a way that humans need to resist. Here is the background before I glued all the elements. And then I glued the text of the poem itself, finally. So I worked layer by layer, with the background first, then the frame, and finally the poem. And here is the completed piece. Ma bonne. Prepare for the starry dark ahead, when terrifying equinox pantheons harness obscured prehistoric gods to worship an ancient magic. People must depend on mystical luck, lightness of signs, symbols, correspondences, the use of our own creature powers, summoning autumnal generations to rise. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you will try to make your own collage poem. Have you ever tried making a collage poem? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Bye!